So you've come here for the truth. Well, we've got the truth and nothing but the truth. Here are your hosts, Robert A. Bianchi and David J. Bruno.
Welcome to WMTR Radio's Nothing But The Truth with your hosts, Bob Bianchi and Dave Bruno. It is a show with two lawyers, but it is not about the law, Dave, as we like to say. It's about mindset, about reaching a pinnacle of success. And some of the success stories that we have, some of the people that got an amazing mindset aren't necessarily those who are reaching the ripe, mature age of myself, but are rather younger. Some of them are in their teen years. Not a lot, but we have Miss Teen USA here, and yet we got another champion teenager in this room today, Dave.
We are very fortunate. I mean, you guys have probably heard the Pat Glory interview that we did. Delbarton, two-time New Jersey state champ and NCAA champ. But now we have our second New Jersey state wrestling champ, and that is Ryan DeGeorge. He comes from Delbarton as well. Just won the 126 weight class from Delbarton, New Jersey state champ, and freshman. He is a freshman, which leaves open the pathway of the four-time state champ at New Jersey. I'm really proud of you, Ryan. Thank you for coming on Nothing But The Truth, and we look forward to this interview.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so listen, like I said from the beginning, let's just get it all on the table right now because we have a lot of people from my alma mater that listen to this show. You're still a good kid. Even though you're at Delbarton, it's all right. You're not Seton Hall Prep, but that's not a bad thing. But all kidding aside, this is really an amazing thing. Dave was a wrestler. He loved wrestling, and from what I understand, and I don't know the game, I haven't been a wrestler in my career. Being a freshman and succeeding in the way that you have is pretty unique, and doing this potentially four times is kind of like a coveted distinction. How much pressure does that put on you to perform?
Well, this year there wasn't really a lot of pressure on me because, obviously I was a freshman. So coming in as a freshman, it was kind of like, let's see what you can do. But I mean, I'd imagine now there's going to be some more pressure on me, that I won as a freshman. So the years to come, people might be expecting me to win some more.
Well, I'm going to ask you because you don't get to the success level that you did without the right mindset and without, I think personally, the right support. And I've got, I think, two of the pillars of your support right in this room, off camera right now, your mom and your dad. And so they'll always be there for you. And that's the special part about a mom and dad. But your mindset is important as well. So how did you form that mindset? Is mindset important to you? And how do you think you're going to continue to improve upon your mindset as you look for that four-time goal?
So my mindset is staying focused and doing the right thing. So staying consistent with what you do.
So how did you start? When did you start wrestling? What age?
I believe 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yeah. So my dad always loved wrestling, and when they moved here, and he wanted to be a part of the rec program, and he saw it, and then when I was about 4 years old, he got me involved with it, and ever since then I stuck with it.
There you go. Was Dad a wrestler?
Yeah, he was.
And what levels did he wrestle at?
He did the rec program when he was a kid, and then he wrestled at North Warren High School, and then he went to a D3 school in Pennsylvania.
There you go. And what town do you live in?
Washington, New Jersey.
So you were in the midget program growing up?
Yep.
Started really young.
Really young.
Did the success always come when you were young?
No, not at first. The rec, I wasn't even on varsity for a couple of years. I was on JV. I believe I didn't make varsity until I was about 9 years old. So for about 5 years, I was on JV.
And do you think that was important in your progress and getting better over those years?
Yeah, it makes you hungry. It makes you want it more because, well, at first when I was on JV, I was like, I don't really know. I didn't know if I was going to be good or not. I thought I was just going to do it for fun. But then, it kind of gets you a little bit. And I wanted to win. I wanted to be the starter. So it made me put a lot more effort into the sport.
Was wrestling your only sport growing up?
No, I was football, lacrosse, wrestling. Did soccer for a couple of years when I was younger. That was about it.
And at what point did it become all wrestling?
Right after I won my first state title. So I won youth states at 9, and then right after then I kind of I dropped everything else, and I left the rec program and I just went to a club, and it's pretty much how all this other stuff started.
What about these clubs? Because I'll tell you, it's so different than it used to be, where everybody stayed in their towns, right? These rec programs. I think it's changed a lot with all of these different private clubs that you could go to, right? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it used to be like everyone would just stay with the rec programs and then just go to that high school, like all their public high schools. But I think now kids are seeing better results with these clubs because you branch out of your town, you get more coaches, you get way more partners, and these practice environments they're way better.
Sure, and especially when we talk about public versus private schools, right? Because did you always know that you're going to go private? Did you always know that? And when, if not, when did you make that decision?
So a lot did change when I was 9 years old after winning my first youth state title. So that's when I got introduced into club wrestling. And out of all the guys that I trained with and that I was friends with, I was always younger. So, all my partners that I trained with are usually like a grade or two ahead of me. So as those guys were gearing up and getting ready for high school, they were talking about private schools, and I was kind of like, that's interesting. So I got to see what they went through and how they were doing it, and it was kind of like, I like that. So that's kind of how it started for me.
Well, especially Delbarton. I mean, number one team, right, in the state, private. You guys are crushing it everywhere you go. Yeah. Had to be a competitive school to get into first off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When does Delbarton come into the mix as a possibility?
I believe like my 7th or 8th grade year it came in. So growing up when I was training, I was always in PA. I always trained in PA. So schools out in PA, like Bethlehem Catholic, when I was younger, I was like thinking of those. I wasn't really thinking too much of Delbarton. Blair was on my mind a little bit. But then when I made the switch over to the Club Buxton, I was surrounded by a lot more guys that, went to Delbarton and those schools. So I kind of got introduced to Delbarton a little bit, and I was like, not only do I like these kids, but it seems like a pretty cool school.
Pretty cool school. I mean, the best in the state, right? And did you make it a goal to get to that school?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said, this is where I want to go, and I'm going to earn it.
Yep, exactly.
Also, I'm told that you had a sign in your room prior to this year, right? You set a goal prior to this wrestling season. What was that goal?
Right above my bed on a whiteboard, I had state champ written.
Bang. When did you write that?
Right before the season started. Right before Beast of the East, which was the first tournament.
What made you do that?
I don't know. I wanted it, and it's one of the mindset things. You have to see it for it to happen. You got to see it to believe it.
So what did you do to prepare yourself for this freshman year? Because number one team, 126, a competitive weight class, going into it, what was the mindset, and what were the things that you did leading up to this year?
Yeah, just staying focused. And one thing I had in my mind that I wanted to get better on, that I knew I had to do to elevate and, to be able to be a state champ, was just like kind of like the toughness aspect of it. I was always a pretty technical kid with my wrestling. I had good technique. I just needed that extra step in my wrestling, and it was that toughness. And, being in that Delbarton room every day, like the high school atmosphere, that definitely was a big part in it.
Tell us about that Delbarton room, this program who is just putting state champ after state champ out. What's the environment in that room as you guys are training?
So basically everyone has the same goal. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be a state champ. So the bar is kind of high, but I think that makes everyone better because everybody wants the same thing. So not only are you helping yourself, but everyone's helping each other. So when everyone's striving for the same thing and you're helping each other up, it makes the environment so much better and when everyone wants to win.
Now, with so many good wrestlers on one team,
right,
are you guys competitive on the team for spots?
So our team, we don't have that much depth. So I'd say our starters kind of like there's a couple weights where there's some wrestle-offs happening, where there's some competition, but most of the weights kind of know who the starters are going to be.
Did you ever have to wrestle off?
I did not have a wrestle off.
I used to wrestle off my freshman and sophomore year,
Really?
and it's torture.
But yeah, that's tough. You have to make weight for it too.
Without a doubt.
As far as your academics, you have to always keep up with that. Delbarton's a really competitive school. Right. So how difficult was it for you to continue with your studies? And did they take any zip off the fastball, or did they expect you to be just as competitive as the other people academically?
Yeah, no, the teachers at Delbarton are definitely very, I wouldn't say lenient, but they're open-minded to it. So they're willing to help you. And, you ask them, like, look, hey, like, you have this paper due on Friday and you need an extension. You can ask for an extension, and they're willing to help you out so you can exceed in your sports aspect.
Okay. And before we take a break, are there any schools that you're looking forward to, looking at, or that Delbarton's helping you with regard to your wrestling, or is that too far in the future?
Like you said, like college?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple schools in mind, like that'd be cool to go to, like a school like Michigan or Cornell or Virginia Tech. Like those are some schools I have in mind.
Okay.
Mike Gray's Cornell. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Delbarton as well, right?
First four-timer.
There you go. Yeah. Pretty exciting that you even accomplished that. But we're going to go into a break. This is Ryan DeGeorge, 126-pound New Jersey State champ from Delbarton. We'll see you after the break.
At the Bianchi Law Group, our team of former prosecutors and certified criminal trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and domestic violence cases. When you need a law firm with courage, compassion, and the commitment to fight for you, call the Bianchi Law Group today.
All right, welcome back to WMTR Radio. Dave, I know it's not a protege. What would you say? He's exceeded your level of wrestling. Beyond,
he probably had more wins this year than I had my entire high school career. So, I mean, that's a clear cut. And again, we had Pat on, and I'm sure you probably saw the interview with Pat. And one of the things that Pat talked about was that the hurdle mentally that he had to get over, because Pat lost 2 times. He was at second place 2 times in a row, and he started to think about it too much. And he said that he had to go to a sports psychologist to really learn about that confidence, about that mindset of the champion. So how did you sort of develop in that way in your mind? Because wrestling a lot is about what you're thinking up top.
Yeah, so I think a big part of that was when the high school season started and I got in that room, practicing every day, 5 days a week. It had to change my mindset. Like you're going to practice and you're surrounded by a lot of really good guys, and you're going with these really good guys every day. So you gotta get to work. You gotta work harder, and that changed my mindset a lot. Because like I said before, the biggest part that I was missing in my wrestling was like toughness, like mental toughness, stuff like that. So getting in that room and learning that, I have to go, I got to work, that really helped.
There's a saying that the person that thinks they can and the person that thinks they can't, they're usually both right. Right?
Yeah.
It's and especially in this sport. And it's applicable to a lot of other things. Like right now, I have an 8-year-old daughter who's in the competitive cheer game, and she's a flyer. So they're throwing her up and they're holding her up, and I keep on telling her, you can't think about falling. Like it's about knowing you're going to land it and knowing you're going to do this, right? Yeah. So let's talk about these athletes out there that are listening to the champ right now, and they're psyching themselves out. They're thinking about the losses even before they start. I mean, talk to us a little bit about that, about how you go into matches and what you're thinking about mentally before them.
Yeah, so, first of all, those losses always make you better because you lose and, you have to work on. Like, beginning of the season, we wrestled Wyoming Seminary. I wrestled the #1 kid in the country, and I took a loss. And, after the match, I was texting my dad. I was like, look, like, now I know what I have to do. But going into the match, just telling myself I can win is huge. And, just telling myself, just go out there, score points, do what you normally do in a match. And it doesn't really matter who you're wrestling, just focus on having fun and win.
So you wrestled the number one at your weight class early in the year?
Right, yeah.
And were you ranked going in at all?
Not at that time.
And what tournament was that?
It was just duel against Wyoming Seminary.
And what was the score of that match?
Ended up being 15-6.
15-6.
Yeah.
So was that your first loss?
No, it was not. My first loss was at Beast of the East.
Okay, so you're having some early losses in your freshman year. Did you ever get down of yourself and start negatively thinking about things?
No, it's funny because there's a long story. So I wasn't really planning on going 126 at all. I thought I was going to go 120, but things changed. I ended up going 126. So it was kind of just my mindset was kind of like, all right, let's go into the season. Let's just have some fun and see what we can do. First tournament was Beast of the East. I made the semis of that. I lost in the semis, but I lost there. Losing is always unfortunate, and you don't really want to lose. But I was kind of proud of the kind of success I was having in the beginning because I didn't really know what to expect.
Wow. I mean, do you look back, winning the tournament, looking back on those early losses, and is there anything specific that you think about that helped you get to where you got?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of guys I lost to were from New Jersey, so, just not wanting to lose those guys again, losing to them, all right, I'm going to see them later on in the year, it motivated me more because I knew I was going to get another shot at them. And, they were going to be in my state bracket, so I didn't want that loss to happen again. So, it's made me more motivated.
Did you get to wrestle any of the kids that you lost to?
No, actually, I didn't. We didn't end up wrestling in the state tournament, but yeah. The one kid he was actually the 1 seed, Sammy Spalding, I lost to him in the semis, a beast. And, going to the state tournament, he was the 1 seed, but he lost early on, so I didn't get to wrestle that match.
Tell me about your habits. Is there anything specific that you're doing, like early morning mindset, journaling, things like that, morning routines?
Yeah, so obviously during the season, every morning I'd wake up to see that state champ right above my bed. So that's an early mindset thing. And then, every morning I would do footwork down in the basement. Just kind of getting my day ready, feeling good. And, I'd try to run twice a week around that.
How about conditioning? I mean, because wrestling is huge. You got to have the condition to push it 100%.
Yeah, it's funny. We have this coach Guy Russo over at Delbarton. He's big on conditioning, when he'd come in, he'd put us through some workouts, and they're pretty tough. So we didn't condition a whole lot through the season, but when we did, we went hard, and it definitely helped.
How about these finals? Was the counties your first final?
Yeah.
It was.
It was, yep.
So Morris County, Delbarton romped. I mean, they beat everybody. I guess closest was probably Mount Olive, right?
Right.
They had a competitive team. They had a couple champs.
Yep.
But what's it like, being on a team like that? You're going into a team tournament where every wrestler is putting up points for the team and just dominating in that particular tournament. How'd that feel individually as the champ and also together as your team?
It's awesome because not only am I winning, but I'm winning with my teammates, my boys, so people who I'm with every day. So that was really fun, actually, for it to be, my first finals of high school, and basically my whole team was in the finals with me, so that was pretty cool.
I was there. I was at the finals, and I was sitting behind a lot of Delbarton wrestlers. Right. In fact, I was sitting behind Damian Logan, who has his son that was a champ too. And I was there with my 6-year-old, Mason. And I was just really showing Mason there's charts in front of us. Chart, all the Delbarton wrestlers. And Logan's son was sitting in front of us. And literally, I tapped him and I said, "Congrats, champ." And he turned around. He started to talk to my son. And it's just amazing to see you guys and to the camaraderie and the kindness of all you guys.
Yeah.
How about that? Your teammates. What can you say about the teammates that you have?
They're awesome. Like the leaders on the team, like guys like Alessio and Lou and Vinny. They play a big role in that. Bringing everyone together and everything we do is as a team, and we do it together. So, it just makes us a family.
And everyone can't win,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because you guys did have 3 state titles this year, but you had losses. Everyone else had to lose at some point. Right. When those losses come, what do you guys do to rally the team individually, get behind your teammates?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. So my roommate at States was actually Gabe Logan, so we were rooming together, and he unfortunately took a loss in the quarters, which was hard to see. He's my best friend, so I didn't want to see him lose either. But I was talking to him as we were in the hotel room after he lost. I was like, I mean, you lost. There's not much you can do about it. You have to go back and get third, and you still have to wrestle. But it was definitely tough at first. But just talking through and be like, look, it's over with. You can't change that loss. So now you got to go get the next best thing.
Yeah, that's a big upset, right?
Yep.
Was he one of the top seeds?
Yeah, I believe he was the 3 seed, something like that, 2.
And then Dad's Damien.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best wrestlers to ever come through NCAA, right? I mean, pretty unbelievable. So moving forward, all right? Yeah, but you do have some pressure, right? But I'd imagine you're ready.
I'm ready.
You ready to rock?
I'm ready to go.
What are you going to be doing in this offseason to get ready for sophomore year?
So I got a lot of freestyle stuff now. So I'm going to start competing again in May with some freestyle duels, and then getting ready for Fargo in July.
When do you start thinking about college?
So I believe that they can start texting me and stuff the end of my sophomore year. But I have it in the back of my mind right now of taking notes on what I like and what I don't like. So I'm kind of thinking about it now, but my process starts in summer of next year.
In school, how you doing in school?
School's going pretty well. I mean, it's definitely a big change going from homeschool to Delbarton because I homeschooled my 2nd, 8th grade year. It's definitely hard, but it's definitely manageable.
After wrestling, what are you interested in doing?
That's something I have to think about, but some of the big fields that I would like to get into, something like finance or cybersecurity, stuff that's really, really big right now.
Well, your mom's a lawyer, and you're sitting in front of 2 lawyers here. Any chance you come into the law?
I mean, there's always a possibility. I mean, I have to see how things go, see what I like. But, it's pretty funny, her coming home every day complaining about how hard it is.
Well, Bob and I are talking a lot about attorney wellness right now. Recently got put on the committee at the state bar about wellness, but you're referring to your mom who does matrimonial law.
Right.
And that is one of the issues with lawyers. We are dealing with other people's problems, and it's about putting lawyers first and really taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of others.
Right.
And your mom's in the room smiling, and she does a great job, and we're colleagues as well. So, absolutely.
All right, Dave. Wow. It was great listening to you guys go up on the wrestling stuff. I got an education here for sure.
I mean, yeah, it's being like I said, I followed this team. I followed the Morris County Wrestling, and also being a former wrestler.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me, and especially I could appreciate success in the sport. I know, really, you have to be ready to wrestle, and that mindset is so important. And just to get a little perspective from a champ, especially a young champ like you, has been such a pleasure. Not only to ask the questions, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people listening to try to do exactly what you've done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, so that's it for Nothing But the Truth this week. Definitely. Where could people follow you and your success? Do you have any profiles that we could watch you?
I mean, Flow Wrestling, when I wrestle, a lot of the stuff I wrestle like all my videos and stuff are on Flow. A lot of tournaments I do is covered by Flow. So yeah.
And for all the wrestlers, everybody that's a fan, where could they find you to follow you in your journey?
Yeah, they can find me on my Instagram, Ryan.DeGeorge.
And you're putting videos, you're putting your...
my state champ post is on there, a couple edits from when I won, so yeah.
I'll tell you what, not to give away too many tips, but a lot of people are going to be following you now. Now you got the state title. So maybe a couple tips on, some doubles and some singles and eye crotches, for all the guys that are following you. All right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. And for the Bianchi Law Group and Nothing But The Truth, we're at NothingButTheTruthPodcast.com. We're on the radio Saturdays at WMTR at 9:30 a.m. And also, Bob, we are live streaming these videos. We take the video for every interview on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. So you guys can catch us at all those places.
Peace. It's the quietest I think I've been in about 20 years.
It has been.
Right?
It has been.
You have your social media.
We're the Bianchi Law Group, a team of former prosecutors and certified criminal trial attorneys.
But here's the thing. He put himself in a box when he said...
Relied on by CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Law and Crime, and news leaders across the country for our criminal defense expertise.
In a search warrant, you have to have probable cause that a crime's been committed and there's evidence in a particular place.
When you need a law firm with courage, compassion, and the commitment to fight for you, call the Bianchi